and the participants joining in from all around the world. And I welcome you to this webinar session that's Sustainable City and Community. So I am Dr. Nipanka, and I am the AP Youth Ambassador from India. I am currently working as a mechanical engineer and been involved in waste to energy projects in different parts of the world. To start with, we have a few points for the participants. So first will be participants must maintain courtesy during the webinar. They are strictly prohibited to record the webinar or do a live stream out of it. Uh, if you have any questions, the participants, then they should ask these questions for the chat feature which you have in the comments in the section. You can register your questions, and we will address all those questions at the end of the each session of the speakers. And only those who have registered and fill the feedback form and joining the live stream session will be given an e-certificate for the participation. So so I mean, today to start with, we are going to talk about sustainability. I mean, it's a very global concept at the moment. So I mean, this can be explained with the help of three pillars from my perspective, which is environmental, economic, and social considerations, which I mean play a very vital role for this kind of developing a sustainable model out of that. So today we have two speakers in this webinar session. One of our speakers is working with different construction materials, solving architectural issues for the communities with a perfect motto of for the people, by the people, and of the people. So that's one of the speakers is doing at the moment. Our second speaker is solving issues with traffic, sanitation, damaged roads using AI and IoT technologies. So I'm personally very curious, and I'm very sure our participants are very enthusiastic to hear from our speakers their journey and their experience working in this particular field. And let me first introduce to you all our first speaker for this webinar. She is Samira Chukapalli. She is an advanced architect and director of NIDLab, that's based in Barcelona, Spain. She has been drafting environment-centered design for communities and involving these sustainability issues that are centered around human design strategies. So she has won lot of awards and recognitions in this particular field, and she has also spoken at the United Nations Habitat Assembly 2019 in Kenya. So with this, I would like to pass the floor to Samira. And once again, Samira, thank you for being part of this webinar, and we are looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And to everyone who's watching, thank you for taking your time. And I'm Samira. As the AP Youth team introduced us, thank you for inviting me. And I think it's Saturday. It shows a lot of commitment to all the youth who've tuned in. When I was young, I probably would have been just taking my weekend. So I think you're a lot of passionate young people with great ambition to contribute positively to the planet and to all the people who are in your community. So that already says a lot if you're here and if you're passionate about any of the sustainability, environment, and design or strategies that you want to experiment in the future. So big cheers to that, and pat yourself in the back. It's hard to be in the pandemic and think positive. So I would say that you guys are doing great, and you're also taking time to learn something new. That's very encouraging. So yeah, the times are hard for everyone. So I would like to start with that. And as the team mentioned, I'm Samira. I run a small design lab called NIDLab. in Barcelona. And myself, along with a small team, we do innovate solutions that impact our local community. And to put it in a very, very small, easy, understandable way, what we do is design something that is a solution for a problem that the community voices. For example, if you're a community out there who is experiencing problems with electricity, and you're of the scale that it is not a problem for the city or bigger commercial organizations, then we would come in with, let's say, frugal or regional solutions and work with you in implementing and solving that. And it could be something to do with you have your house roofs leaking, then we would conduct probably skill development workshops along with the youth and community members, so we can share skills for you to improve your own roof of the house, so you have the skill forever to keep making that difference in your community. This is some of the things that we do. We do provide design services to regional governments and companies as well. And we do conduct a lot of workshops, which most often is free for youth like you, who can learn carpentry to motorwork to brick, let's say traditional bricklaying to other kinds of contemporary forms as well, which can be informed by sun, wind, and a lot of factors. So it can be innovative in the sense that it understands tradition and recognizes the material of the region. Then you have very low carbon footprint. It could be that some of you don't understand these terms, so I will make it simpler. Let's say if you choose to build your house with marble from Italy in Indonesia, that is a very, very huge carbon footprint house or construction that you're making. Because A, the material is not local and it has to be brought in from Italy, which is quite far from Indonesia. That adds a lot of transportation, let's say fuel consumption. So that's a high carbon footprint material. So let's say if you use some regional wood or clay bricks that are made locally on your island, that would be very low carbon footprint because it is sourced from the community. And the second adding factor for that to be good for the environment is the regional people know how to deal with the material. They know how to fix a brick if it's broken. They can replace it very easily. They can alter it very easily. So this makes a material that's regional, low footprint, and also something that the community can interact with better. In that sense, we address issues. And that's how we define how materials are low carbon footprint or high, and how easy are they for communities to interact with. So the team has done an expert work in giving me some questions, and I will try my best to answer them in this. And then, of course, you have question time where you can send me your questions, and then I will answer them. So let me share my screen. And I hope you can see it. Okay, perfect. So this is something that you can find on our website if you go. And these are all some of the places that we have worked. And I've actually been in Indonesia as well. So we should put that there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. North Sumatra, actually, we were understanding the palm oil sustainability supply chain. So that's a very, very interesting. So that's for another day, let's say. So as I mentioned before, we do work in 3 different streams. One is designing for people and impact, which is any regional problem. We customize the solution, work with the community, and try to design something for them, with them involved. So it's not something foreign, it's not something that's a surprise to the community, but it's something that arrives as a solution when you work with them. And then we share skills, as I said, for youth, for community members, any age group. We do conduct workshops and share skills that we know. Sometimes we do learn more than we share, which is what happens when you work with many different communities and learn regional tricks for solving something that you would have thought otherwise is quite complicated. And we do advocacy. I believe all of you are very familiar with UN Sustainable Development Goals. We do a lot of advocacy work around the subject and how individuals at any capacity, government, public, private, individual people can contribute in order to achieve these goals successfully. And we do that through sharing information, how one can contribute, as well as implementing projects ourselves. These are some of the questions the team sent me. Let's see. My view towards sustainable city and community. I believe all communities and cities should be sustainable or trying to attain that in the next few years in order for us to stay way below the 2 degrees Celsius climate temperature change. And that's very, very important. And cities are one of the main pockets where actually the carbon footprint is quite high. And let's say pollution and all of that. One of the team members shared with me, he lives in Delhi, so he must be quite aware of how pollution can affect individuals who live and are part of a city. Yeah. Then several challenges in supporting sustainable city and community. Definitely. There is a challenge of acceptance. It could be from the government, it could be from regional governing bodies, it could be from people itself. Sometimes you're so habitual to doing something a certain way that a new enhanced technique that is found to be more sustainable seems foreign. But in the changing times, we do have to adapt. That's something that comes as an mindset of acceptance, I would say. And then accepting to implement that and live it is something that's very important. Impact environment, they do heavily, as I said, in simple terms, like as simple as pollution because of the cars present. I think cities could increase public transport, more metros, more sustainable means of moving masses of people instead of one person in a car. I think we'll hear about that in the next lecture, but how architecture design assets building a smart, inclusive, safe, resilient city. Inclusive is something that we're working on. I think architecture for far too long has been addressing the needs of one kind of human. Let's say a certain abled human, and we want to be more inclusive. We are designing a home which is very, very specifically made for visually impaired people to enhance the experience of someone with wind and light, not just visual appearance. That's something I think should be done more often and considered. And yeah, we're very excited to work on that project. Resilient, definitely, in terms of climate, in terms of ability for the house to provide you energy and food as well. I think house no longer can just be considered as something that gives you shelter, but it can, with recent technologies, provide you much more. And my personal organization's efforts and projects, I think that I will show some pictures, which helps, I think, people relate more. So this is a house we built at the UN Habitat in Kenya. And this is a House for All initiative where we designed the house that can provide, the roof is actually embedded with solar panels. Usually you would see solar panels which are put on top of the roof as a second layer, let's say. But this one, the roof itself is embedded with the cells, which means reduction of material use. And also it acts as very thin, strong membrane, which produces energy. And less of construction, less of, let's say, added cost. And then we do have here vertical gardens, which provide food and very small perforations, because in this area, having bigger windows creates more heat. Here you have a kind of venturi effect, which means like when you blow air in your arm, you have a smaller perforation. So air goes through it and makes a cooler feeling. So that's what we're trying to achieve by creating smaller perforations in windows. And we did this with entirely local community, and we shared some skills with them and built it under safe conditions. And now they are aware of this new building technique that they can use. And this was with the director. We were very honored to be invited and present a prototype there. And this was something that we did to purify air in office spaces by increasing indoor plants and recognizing indoor plants which are good for purifying indoor air. And we did that with recycled plastic. We used coffee cups that everybody throws away in the office, and then used other kind of caps and converted them into this recycled plastic product, which was used to hang the cups. And then we did develop, this was the mayor of Seoul, South Korea. We developed more prototypes, how air quality can be improved. And we developed in a VR game as well. I hope you can check that out on YouTube or on our website, where we just encouraged young people to destroy cars by throwing them at the metro. Very active and a very casual way of sharing that we can choose metros instead of cars to very, very young children in order to make them remember the fact that their choice can affect their city, their community, and everyone. So this was the kids at the museum lining up to play the game. And they were very excited, and I believe they created an impact in their thinking, which can last much further than let's say creating policy. Policies are good as well, but sharing the younger generation what is a better way to live in the future is also very, very important. And this is something that we did to showcase Catalan architecture in the province of Catalonia in Barcelona, within the city of Barcelona in Spain. And here, this very, very thin shell structures are really popular. And I can actually stand on top of it, and it has no metal at all. This is just done under a technique of arch construction. And it is so stable and unique that Gaudi used it, and a lot of other famous architects have used it. But we've somehow forgotten how to use this skill. So we built this as part of a museum installation here to share this ancient technique with the young people in Spain. And people could touch it. In museums, you don't usually get to touch products, but we changed that and we made people understand and experience architecture at a different scale. That's why the walls are smaller. Usually it would be much bigger, but here people could touch the interior, outside tiles, and interact with it at a much deeper level. And the same, we converted the museum into a park where people can have fun and experience museums at a different way. We shared sustainable food there. We had music, and we interacted with the mayor. We shared how the city could be more interactive in that sense. And this is something we did that was fun in India. We did a pop-up public space installation, which means just we moved a solar panel and put some benches and created a better seating environment in metro spots. We did this in Mumbai, and people were interacting with it. People were happy, which showed us an immense need for public space installations in India. It's not that the government's not doing, so there's no need. We need to call upon the government to provide public spaces which are safe, clean, and available to all. And which means in the local demographics, you need to have much higher percentage of public spaces in India, considering the density. You have to work in terms of population of the city, not in terms of standards, let's say, which are not based on regional communities. This is something we did in Kuwait with local material. We made this beautiful pavilion again to enhance that small preparations can create a much cooler environment outdoors. And we interacted with local people, we interacted with children playing around, and we built structure, also emphasizing that women can be part of construction industry and encouraging them to do so. This was in Vietnam. We used bamboo to make growing bamboo as a structure, which can be on top of your roof of the house. it reduces heat that goes into most houses, and also it helps you grow food. All of these vertical bamboo members, we'll be using them to grow salads and other foods. And we shared skills with a lot of Vietnamese young youth, how to work with bamboo, which is something that's traditional and local for them. And we did the same in Bhutan with some beekeeping community. We showed them skills. We trained them how to assemble a very high impact, let's say, beehive. And they did learn new tricks to do something that they were already doing. And then we interacted with the Prime Minister and showed how we could do that in the future more impactfully. And these are some of the examples, and I hope this inspired and both like showed you a path that even with what regional materials are available, you can be innovative, you can be very appealing visually, but also very, very sustainable. And regional materials are, from our research, personal research, we have found that have much lower appreciation because it's casual, right? You have something around you, you don't feel the value of it. You tend to see like, oh, that's something that I've grown up with. So we're trying to change that stigma. We're trying to make people understand that the local materials are much high impact materials, and that they could also look great with innovative techniques and visually pleasing way of designing things. So thank you for being with me. I'm excited to answer all of your questions and also interact with you.
Thank you, Samira, for such a wonderful presentation and working in such a, creative space of architecture. It's very interesting to how you collaborated these important aspects of sustainable development goals with this architectural concept and making it so much sustainable. It's really appreciable for you and your organization to do that. So we are very grateful to you for giving such an inspiring presentation for this, for the participants who are watching this, and maybe take up this as a as an inspiration to go into this particular space and maybe work towards this particular space. So what according to you should be the role of the government, in taking up this new low carbon technologies? So what do you think the government should play a role? For example, in countries like India or the developing countries, so we don't have this kind of concepts yet. It is developing, but it hasn't developed completely. So what do you think the NGOs or the government agencies should play a role in that?
I think that's a great question. India especially has a huge fund and a department and a very, very open-minded ministry. Definitely, we've interacted with them, we visited them in Delhi, and they are doing a lot of work under the umbrella of Smart Cities Initiative, which includes, let's say, very high-tech solutions and including youth and a lot of startups, and accepting new and innovative ways to change, let's say, something that's traditional or which is high carbon emitting, or a way of doing something. They are definitely, and that's good news for us, being one of the fastly developing country, largest democracy, and also someone probably will become the most populated country in the world in the next, let's say, 10 or 15 years. We do have the responsibility for the world to do things a bit different, not just for the country, but we do hold a much higher responsibility. And I think what could be nudged in a more impactful direction is not only to look at extremely tech-centered solutions. Let's say smart cities has the impression with everybody that it's in surveillance, it's in a vigilance. You add more cameras, you do add more analysis layer to the city. You create streetlights which turn on and off with sensors. This is something immediately our mind goes to when I say that word smart.
Right.
But this is created because of a lot of companies that have shown those solutions to the government. And those have been most accepted because of the word smart. But smart also means a lot more. Smart means what do people want? Smart means asking the community what helps them the most. It is response time. When, let's say, a complaint of a pothole has been provided to the government, that could be addressed much faster than what it is right now. That itself is a smart solution. Having a conversation portal which is open to public is something that could change a lot of people's opinions about them being part of the city. And I think what that leads to, which we don't observe very often, is belief. When you create a lot of belief among the community, they tend to be more responsible and act responsive to the city. They would be saying, okay, my city heard me. They changed and implemented a solution to the problem I asked them. And I think then the individual starts to not throw trash on the street. Not litter, actually dispose the garbage in a very correct way, let's say wet, dry, and recyclable, and also be responsive with energy. So I think small initiatives from the government to show people that they're hearing to them makes people more responsive. And that's, I think, a beautiful loop. And I think that should be done more.
Yeah, that's very wonderfully put. So thank you for your insight. And as in the beginning of my presentation, I was explaining about these 3 pillars of sustainability. So as per your structuring of your organization for Need Lab, so how do you think you satisfy all these pillars and putting a balance on it? I mean, let me put out an example. For example, in Kenya, for this preservation of this wildlife, so normally there are a lot of funds going in from the United States, from the UK, and for this preservation of this wildlife, and then it has a positive impact on that, and there was an increase in number of this endangered species over there. But in turn, that has resulted in the invasion of these species into the nearby villages, and then the local people had to suffer because of that. And I mean, the land and the farming and everything was wasted, and the government couldn't pay for these people, and those people have to pay from their pockets to manage this kind of issues. So when we concentrate on one pillar, the other pillar goes down, and I mean, that doesn't make it more sustainable. So how do you think Need Lab plays a role in maintaining that balance of sustainability in this architectural concept?
That's a fascinating example. I'm not familiar with that issue. I would love to know more about it. Maybe I'll talk to you after the event to learn more at that specific community issue. I think that's something that we've seen repeatedly, not just in this case, but in all, let's say, impact directive initiatives. The one key pain point here is communication. We think it's something that's very small and can be adjusted, but it's something huge. Let's take the example of what you gave. If the organization designing the solution did a map analysis about where could the animals go to find water and food if we did this implementation, if they had spoken to the local communities and said, hey, we've done a basic map analysis, this is where probably the animals would migrate, could we relocate you? If the community has been very attached to the land, then tailoring the solution could have been something that would have prevented, let's say, or started a means of communication where we could have looked at alternate solutions for the same issue. I think communication is a key point, and in-depth analysis about the region, about the consequences, and then sharing that publicly to the areas affected. Because a lot of times you don't think from all the perspectives. You don't think from the perspective of living in that region every day, because you simply cannot go into that shoes. That means you learn that from someone who's living there. That means you ask the person, hey, you stay here every day. what do you think will happen if we implement this kind of solution? Do you think it will work? Do you think, what from your point of view, what would be the best way to do it? Asking and learning more doesn't mean that you don't know how to do it. It just means that you're open and you're ready to understand at the implementation level what the community needs are.
Right.
That would have totally, avoided the situation this specific project has faced. And that is repetitive again. Before you change a highway going next to a park and somewhere, talk to the community, even if they even want that, because probably the park has been the center of that community and they don't want to lose that or have higher levels of noise there. And then discuss, maybe you can do it in a different way. So I think it's time we take in the human factor and evaluate that as a cost as well, because we don't do cost analysis based on human feelings yet. But I think it's a very, very important thing that we need to do.
Yes, thank you. The notes you put across perfectly fits into your company's vision. Considering the community and providing employment for those who actually wants to do something with their life, and also giving them an opportunity, as well as understanding the basic necessities what communities want, except like we are self-assuming ourselves that this kind of factor can be affecting those particular areas. So it perfectly fits into this SDG goals, and thank you for that. And from for a startup, it becomes very difficult to initially to be part of this mainstream companies, to be recognized and to be working parallelly across different ventures. For example, the CSR part of a particular company or something different. So in terms of the funding agencies, so how do you think NEET Lab approaches, and how do you think you take what kind of initiative for making people aware of this concept, as well as the kind of impact you are trying to do through NEET Lab, and how does this affect in your in raising funds?
That's, I think, a great question, and it adds to the pillar that you mentioned before about financial and sustainability. Yeah. I think it's very, very important. A lot of startups or young people look at us and they're like, hey, you guys do great work, without understanding how a lot of that work depends on how we pay the designers, how we sustain ourselves. And I would like to say this to everybody, that not all solutions are holistic until there's a financial sustainability angle added to it. Exactly. And we learned that by doing. To be very frank, we learned it from project to project. We learned it by implementing different solutions and understanding, well, that was just a donation-based project. And it's not very sustainable in long term unless sustaining revenue models are incorporated in each solution. So it's very important to add the aspect of how something can sustain itself. Not just the implementation part of it, but how does it collect recurring needs that it has. Nothing is completely financially independent. Resources in one way or the other are needed. Yep. Most initiatives do need human power. That is also a resource. That means we have added salary as a factor. That is a financial necessity. So it is a very important pillar. At NEET Lab, we do multi-stream revenue models. We do collect donations. We do take in sponsorship partners where we implement projects with R&D or existing products of different companies who are addressing a very important sustainable product or issue in the market. We do collaborate. Collaborations, I think, are a great way to show people how already existing product or upcoming product can be used. We do that by applying for grants. We do that by conducting workshops, which are paid as well. because partially the workshops are paid by some of the students who can do that and offer that as a grant to those who cannot. So we do subsidize for people who are unable to do that at that point in their life, to enable them to do that much later. Probably the same youth will come back 10 years later and say, hey, I learned this here, and I would like someone else to do learn something new as well. So these are some of the ways that we are doing that. But we're actively learning as well and improving with each project and finding new and innovative financial models to be more and more sustainable and for the projects to be financially stable. So yeah, I think it's a very, very important factor. And most often, very little light is shed on this subject and the importance of it. So I think it's good that you brought this up as an important factor.
Yeah, so since I work in a startup as well, so these parameters become very important. Even the products are very, very sustainable, but it should go in a similar timeline, all the pillars. Then that becomes a successful project. Otherwise, even if your product is very, very innovative and creative, but if it's not supported by financial parameter, then it becomes difficult at some point of time to carry on further. So thank you for your valuable insights on that. And as a young company, so also for the youth who are listening this webinar, so in terms of the recruitment and purposes, and what kind of skills do we look for in a particular individual? As you are a director for NeedLab, and you need certain sets of skills that you need to implement on the ground, because you normally work on this architectural craft, so that needs more hands-on experiences. So how do you look on that aspect?
That's a great question again. It varies from project to project. I think that would be a very fair answer to say. There is no one template of skill that we look for, because we work in a very open field. Let's say we do look for architectural skills, we do look for communication skills, we do look for implementation skills and strategy as well. And all of this is also layered again with the project specific needs. For example, if the project is very emotionally centered, then we do onboard psychologists, we do onboard different skills that are needed for that project, agricultural specialists. We bring them on board, let's say solar efficiency analysts. So each project is very tailored, and the team is put together is for that specific cause. So needs do change. But if I have to say, let's say top 2 or 3 things that that we would resonate with someone is someone having a passion for sustainability, genuinely believing that actions that we do today can implement our tomorrow, and having the hope to have have that grit to do that, and confidence is something that's that can be built with us, and open-mindedness to be able to learn something new, and willing to learn that with the team and implement it, and to do mistakes as well. I think that's something very important. We don't give much focus to, unless and until we implement a few errors or mistakes, and have the ability to recognize that and intention to correct it. I think complete it in a way, and I think that that helps people be more recognizable by us, and. So if someone's out there who's interested in volunteering or doing something with us, I think this would be the opportunity for me to share that.
Yes, thank you very much, Samira, for such a valuable insights on various aspects of your organization and the kind of work you are doing. And I'm sure our participants, as well as a panelist, we are very motivated and inspired by your journey, and we look forward, and we wish you a very successful venture, and you keep on doing that kind of work in all as I'm from India, so I look forward to more work in India as well, and also in different parts of the world. Thank you so much, Samira.
Thank you for having me, and good luck to you and all the youth who are watching, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. And we for the Q&A sessions, we will get back to you for the questions that will be addressed at the end of the session. And now, yeah, thank you, Samira. And now, moving from architecture to artificial intelligence. So now, in a city like Indonesia, we have lots of these issues like traffic, food, floods, and damaged roads, which affects the quality of life. So one of our speakers is our next speaker. He will be speaking on these particular topics, and their organization is providing solutions that can reach citizens and governments using artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. So with keeping that context in mind, let me introduce to you Mr. Rama Raditya. He is the founder and CEO of Clue, the biggest smart city and property platform in Indonesia. They are focusing on task force solution, leveraging mobile, AI, and IoT. So they have been awarded multiple recognitions by government of Indonesia and all around the world. So they have been building these smart cities, building factories, specifically working with municipalities. And with this, I would like to welcome Mr. Rama Raditya and pass this floor to him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nick, and thank you for having me in this event. Hi, everyone. My name is Rama Raditya. I'm the founder and CEO of Clue. Clue is a smart city ecosystem solutions company. We provide technology leveraging AI and IoT in the smart city space in Indonesia. Next one, please. So I will play a short video about us.
The main idea behind Clue was inspired by the many issues we face in Jakarta. Issues such as traffic jams, floods, littering, damaged roads, and illegal parking, which negatively impacts the everyday life of many citizens. We wanted to provide a solution that can effectively connect citizens and government. We then set out to develop a mobile application where citizens can report issues directly to the appropriate government officials so that the issues can be resolved immediately and bring positive changes to Jakarta. Clue integrates data into insights and recommendations that support leaders in making informed decisions and policies for a better living standard. Clue simplifies the collection of real-time traffic conditions, supplying decision makers the information needed to improve infrastructure and urban planning. If natural disaster strikes, Clue maps out damage estimation and victim needs, allowing volunteers to distribute aid swiftly and accurately. Machine learning detects potential threat activities automatically for immediate intervention and predicts future risk-prone areas. Clue empowers government and businesses with an AI-driven platform that can help users understand current trends and anticipate future trends. Our success in launching Clue, alongside with Jakarta Smart City by the Jakarta government, has brought many positive impacts to the city. We successfully reduced 8,000 flooding points to 450, cut down illegal levies by 45%, increased public trust towards the government by 87%, and eliminated hundreds of tons of waste.
Setelah kita berkolaborasi dengan Clue selama 4 tahun, banyak sekali peningkatan-peningkatan yang ada dari sisi respon time, terus kemudian juga kualitas penyelesaian pengaduan, Yang kita bisa ketahui bahwa sebelum ada Clue itu rata-rata penyelesaian sekitar 300 jam, sekarang bisa kurang dari 1 hari, sehingga ini juga menjadi sebuah apresiasi dan juga merupakan prestasi.
Kami bersama Clue mengembangkan suatu mobile aplikasi yang kita namakan OneSmile. Tujuannya OneSmile ini adalah bertujuan untuk menciptakan kepuasan citizen base terhadap layanan yang diberikan kami terhadap citizen kami. Ya, beberapa feature yang sudah kami kembangkan, contohnya adalah bus tracking, billing payment, layanan pesan antar, serta customer care system yang sangat-sangat membantu kami untuk memberikan respon yang cepat. Tentu saja, ke depan aplikasi Clue akan kami jadikan platform untuk meningkatkan pelayanan digital sehingga citizen BSD dapat menikmati beberapa solusi teknologi yang terintegrasi.
Kami sangat menginginkan bahwa program-program yang ada di Clue Indonesia dan program-program yang Res Narkoba miliki bisa menyatu dan bisa menjadikan program Clue ini sarana yang sangat efektif digunakan sebagai akses pelaporan masyarakat. Ini sangat membantu adanya penyalahgunaan narkoba di wilayah Jakarta Selatan makin menurun.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dengan penuh sukacita, pemerintah mengucapkan selamat atas pencapaian Clue memperoleh penghargaan The Best Mobile Government Service Award untuk kategori Public Empowerment di ajang World Government Summit tahun 2019. Kami bangga sebagai karya anak bangsa, Clue bisa mendapatkan pengakuan dunia ini. Penghargaan ini juga merupakan apresiasi tertinggi masyarakat Indonesia yang menggunakan Clue sebagai media partisipasi masyarakat dalam pembangunan. Melalui platform teknologi Clue, masyarakat menyumbangkan ide dan mendorong perubahan positif di kotanya. Kami berharap Clue terus menjadi pemacu anak-anak muda Indonesia untuk melanjutkan partisipasi aktif mewujudkan Indonesia menjadi Smart Nation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat atas deklarasi Smart Citizen, gerakan anak muda untuk berpartisipasi dalam mendukung Smart City dan mewujudkan pemerintahan yang responsif. Saya berharap gerakan yang diinisiasi oleh Clue ini menciptakan Smart City dan mempercepat terwujudnya Indonesia Smart Nation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Clue have been working together with the governments, law enforcement agencies, and multi-industry corporations to create Indonesia Smart Nations, which is aligned with our core mission to accelerate positive changes worldwide.
Okay, thank you very much. So as you can see, from day one, we strive for social impacts for Indonesia. Our mission is to accelerate positive changes. We want to build smart cities nationwide in Indonesia, and hence we called it a smart nation. I will explain it to you in more detail about the dream of building this smart nation, but here's a background about Clue. So we started this company quite not long ago. So it's about 4 years ago, in 2016. But the whole implementations was already implemented for Jakarta Smart City in 2014, before it began to be a company. We are headquartered in Indonesia. The industry space that we are focusing is in Smart City. In the video, there is not much of AI and IoT plays, because it's recently added in about 2018, 2019. But right now, we are very focused also in the AI and IoT technologies, as well as combining with the people empowering for smart city implementations. Total employees at the moment is about 80 plus. Total clients, we have empowered more than 50 cities, both in municipalities, working with police departments as well. We also have worked with smart industrials, township developers, ministries, transportation divisions, things, ministries level, as well as we have working with the presidential office in order to have the president monitor the whole nation, having it, hence calling it the Smart Nation later on. Next. So this is where it all began, actually. We have no data about this in the very beginning. We were just concerned about the problems that we see in Jakarta, mainly in the capital city of Indonesia. Problems such as floods, traffic, as mentioned, traffic congestions, criminal activities, vandalism, illegal parkings, and mobility issues, and so on. But apparently, those social issues are happening because of the non-maintained urbanization growth within cities. It's not only happening in Indonesia, but it's also happening around the world. It's just the fact that around the world, by 2050, 70% of people will be living in cities. And in Indonesia, the number is quite similar. Right now, it's about 40% or 45%, and by 2050, it's about 70% something. And in order to maintain that, you need a tool, you need a system to actually do that, to maintain the urbanization growth. And it's growing at an alarming rate. And in order to do that, you have to apply infrastructure as well as technology. We work with infrastructure providers, and we provide the technology solutions in order to help municipalities, police department, ministries, enterprise, and so on. Next. So this is actually the slide that should have been shown in the beginning. Yes, this is what happened back in the days. I think it's about 2008, 2011, the flood that always happened this is actually in the middle of the city. Just let's say in New York, it's like in the middle of Central Park, or in the middle of Manhattan. And the flood always happened every year like this in the middle of the city. And as you also probably heard that Indonesia has become previously as the #1 most traffic congested city in the world, #1 most polluted city in the world, air pollutions, flooded as well, and a lot of riots, garbage issues, sanitation issues, and so on. And this is actually why we developed our solutions, our company in the beginning, to help our city, which apparently now being used in more than 50 cities around the nation. Next. So in a glance, when you're talking about smart city, there's several indicators, there's several standards. It's kind of like how it's impactful toward the SDGs. Smart governance is #1, how we can make the bureaucracy of government more efficient. Smart citizen, how we can get active participation from citizens to be able to report problems, provide information to the government as well as other stakeholders to build the city better. Smart environment, how we can put sensors around the cities in order to detect any problems, not only air pollutions, but also about trash, floods, and so on. Mobility, smart mobility is more on the traffic congestions, traffic violations, how we provide AI capabilities as well as IoT to do that, as well as people providing information to the government. Safety and security, this is more on the law enforcement agencies. And at the end of the day, those information flows will be a big data for the analysis and then predictions in the future. Our solutions covers all of these aspects, the indicators of smart cities. There's also smart economy, smart education, living, healthcare, energy, and so on, depending on which city applies the indicators. Next one, please. So this is our solutions. There is three aspects to it, 3 steps to it. So -- is identifications. The second one is analysis. And the third one is how we respond to it. Identifications is we identify by empowering citizens. We call it like a live sensor. So citizens at the moment, there are about more than 1 million users every day reporting through Clue app for potholes, illegal parking, traffic violations, sanitation problems, flood, clogged sewers, things like everything they report. There's about 25 categories in our app. It's available in Android and iOS. And then there is also Clue Work. This is being used by the internal field workers. So such as like police officers, transportation divisions, like the internal workers of the government. They can also report when they see something. So using their app. And then we also empower CCTVs using ClueSense. So, using ClueVision. So ClueVision is not available here, but it should be. There is another product called ClueVision. So ClueVision is empowered IP CCTV to be smarter using AI. So we capture again, illegal parking, we captured about illegal hawkers. For some reason in several cities in Indonesia, it's illegal, as well as traffic conditions, facial recognitions, people counting. Now even we captured people not wearing masks for mask detections, because whenever you go outside right now, you have to wear a mask. And there is a ClueSense, our IoT sensors as well, capturing data. So this information collecting is end-to-end. So from people, from AI, from sensors as well. Those data that is being sent, those information will be sent into the command center. The command center that you see in the video, visualize everything. But not only visualizing, but it also provide seamless dispatch system to the Clue Work that is available on the field. So Clue Work is, remember, the mobile workforce, police officers, security guards, transportation divisions, sanitation divisions. So what we do is basically we solve the problem to the core. So people in real time. So people that is the field workers that is available on the field can solve the issues whenever, whenever they wake up in the morning, they see that there is alerted by the CCTV or alerted by Clue app to resolve the issues. And the Clue dashboard will analyze all the KPI. So management or the government knows which division is working, which is not, who can I give reward, who can I give consequences, things like that. So this is actually a whole solution in one go. Next one. So this is just the product overview. As you see, there is dynamic traffic light control. We also empowered a lot of traffic lights in the cities to make it more dynamic based on the traffic conditions. In some traffic lights, in most traffic lights in Indonesia, it's actually still manual in order for you to change the green light from 30 seconds to, let's say, 10 seconds. But this one is more dynamic. And these other capabilities that we have. Next one. So for example, during this COVID-19 outbreak, we provide several solutions to capture data on the field. So number one is we deploy a sensor for thermal. The one that you see on the right is called Clue Thermal. To capture, number one is automatic thermal scanner, people that is not wearing masks. And then it can be alerted right away using facial recognition combined with data for patients. Let's say there is a home isolated patient that is walking around. We can capture those. And then we also provide CCTV analytic, that the one you see here, to see whether people are social distancing or not, wearing masks or not, this kind of detections that we provide. The most important thing is where the data goes. So once you detect, let's say, someone who's not wearing masks, the nearby police officer will get alerted in their Clue Work app, the mobile workforce app, to actually handle the problems. But in the dashboard, they can, the management or the government can provide a better policies based on that, a better announcement to the public, because everything is now based on data. Next one. Oh, there's another video. So this is the video for the COVID Yeah, so those are the example of our COVID-19 solutions that's being used also by enterprises. I think in total, we have about maybe 40 to 50 clients that have been using that. On the other hand, we also empowered our national disaster agency. So we work diligently with our national disaster agency since about end of 2016, 2017. And this is what, there is a story about it. There was one city called Bima near Bali, Indonesia, that got wiped out by flood. The whole city was wiped out by flood. And the entire city, it was destroyed. And we were asking the national disaster agencies whether we can help using our Clue app for citizens, volunteers, as well as internal workers can report issues regarding, not issues, but all of the broken infrastructures, sanitations, like all trash, broken houses, need supplies, and so on, directly to the supplier or supply providers. So there is architects, there is NGOs, there is government as well, there is people that are providing CSR. Usually it takes about 4 months to rebuild the whole city back to normal, but due to these solutions, it took them only about 3 to 4 weeks. So ever since then, the national disaster agencies have been collaborating with us. Whenever there is earthquake, whenever there is flood, they always have us along, tag us along to the locations to actually help that revitalize, so to say. So yeah, we've been working with them for quite a while. Also for the COVID solutions, we launched our app, Clue app, to report problems regarding social distancing, regarding need of supplies, full hospitals, and so on. So all of the problems during the lockdown, people can report those issues and then still get acknowledged by the police officers, by the divisions in the government. The name of the website is indonesiabergerak.com. It means like the movement of Indonesia.com, something like that. So please check it out. There's a lot of reports about non-social distancing citizens during the lockdown. Next. We also empower volunteers in each neighborhood in Jakarta to actually report any kind of problem related to lockdowns during the COVID-19. And the impact is we managed to help the government to suppress the COVID-19 outbreak in Jakarta. Next. So for the COVID-19 collaboration, we collaborated directly to the COVID-19 task force, the National Task Force of Indonesia, alongside with other startups, Grab, and some other. There's also, I think, Gojek inside. So Halodoc, yeah, it's part of Gojek. And this is actually the collaboration that really impactful to the suppressing the COVID-19 outbreak in Indonesia. So if you see, during the, this COVID-19 situation is very sudden, right? We have no idea before nobody has idea that it will happen anyways. But when it happened, our solution, because we built an ecosystem in the beginning, we were able to be more agile towards our product. We can diversify to which client that we want to serve, which product that we want to push, things like that. So it's very important to you for young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs to be in the future to always think about the product diversifications as well as client diversifications. I know it sounds, yeah, but we need to focus in one, but always have like, the secondary clients and third serving clients and so on. Because it's very important during these kind of situations. And always embrace or strive for social impacts, because when you think of social impacts, it will affect a lot of people. And when a lot of people use it, at the end of the day, you can make a revenue out of it as well. But from day one, if you see, we are very focused on how we can make our nation better, our cities better in Indonesia. Next. Yeah, so these are the challenges that we have. So with all of those portfolios, it's not only it's not always positive in terms of the implementations on the field. Because when you're talking about smart cities, you always have to think about the infrastructure to be ready first. And when in Indonesia, we are kind of like in parallel introducing smart city, but in parallel also the government, the central government, is also chasing to build infrastructure. So the number one challenge would be infrastructure for us, but in that sense, that means we have to build a product that is more light. Everything has to be more, how do you call that, but compressed in terms of data, as well as security. It has to be more secured, it has to be encrypted, and so on. And when you're doing such project like this, a lot of the requests from the government, let's say, it's more like, can I customize the product? Can I customize the product? You know, things like that. You have to build the product from the very beginning to be, you need to do a lot of research from the very beginning with the government, asking that what they need and so on. So in the end, you won't get surprised about all of a sudden there is like a new features and so on. So this kind of things have to be planned very properly. As well as that is very one more thing that is very important is digital literacy. So when we first introduced the word smart city, nobody knows what it is back in 2014, and then we had to empower let's say police officers, transportation divisions, and they are, sorry to say, but they're quite aged. I mean, yeah, old. And when they're using an applications or using a phone, they only use it to send SMS, you know, text message. They don't really use app at that time. So those kind of things have to be more, you have to be passionate toward those. You have to keep teaching them, and it comes with the time also, but at the end of the day, those part of the game that you need to be passionate in order to transform your product digitally towards people as well. Next. Some of our success stories in smart city implementation. So the first one and foremost is Jakarta Smart City. So we built this in 2014. We introduced this to the public. It became the benchmark of smart cities around the nation. We managed to reduce 8,000 flood spots, as mentioned in the video, to 450 something. Reduce extortion, increase citizens' trust. Believe it or not, before citizens didn't really trust the government, but due to the system that has been more effective and efficient, lean as well, whenever they throw an issue or whenever they complain or submit problems, within 2 or 3 hours, their problems will be acknowledged. So those are the ones that really increase the public trust. And it became a benchmark, as mentioned, and right now it has been introduced to more than 30 cities in Indonesia for the municipality. And then there is also police department. I think next one, right? Next. Yes, so for police department, there is 30 other police departments. In total, we have empowered more than 50 or 60 cities in Indonesia. So this started in 2018 during the Asian Games. And we were trusted by Asian Games Committee to actually empower or secure the 3 cities during the Asian Games 2018. There's Jakarta, there is South Sumatra, and there is West Java, I believe. In this case, we provide mobile workforce, citizen participation, CCTVs, call center system, command center platform, and so on, to make sure the event is always safe. So captured for facial recognition, empowering police officers, and so on. It was very successful in that program. And the police officers asked us to actually make this program to be nationwide. So at the moment, we have empowered more than, like I mentioned, 30 cities around the nation. And by 2025, we have a target to empower 512 cities around the nation. So it's still a long way to go to help the national police force of Indonesia. Next. This is just the example of the traffic management that we do. So in some township developers, as well as some cities, we empower traffic lights to be smarter. That's the one that I mentioned. As well as whenever there's like violations such as illegal parking, driving behavior, speeding, and things like that, we capture the license plate of the cars using license plate recognitions. But if you see that on the right, there is a speaker. The speaker, what it does is, it's using AI actually, believe it or not. What it does is it reads the license plate and then tells the illegal parking drivers to move away from that spot very loudly. It's like, they will B1265 YCH, let's say, please don't park over there. Or, yeah, something like that. So after 3 times the car doesn't move, it will send alert right away to the police officers as seen on the video. I mean, on the picture. Next one. For the dynamic traffic light, it has proven to reduce traffic within the intersections up to about 20 to 25%. In some other cases, in Indonesia, if you see, there's a lot of residentials as well as a lot of clusters, and then the clusters need to be secured. What we do, basically, we provide automations to the cluster boom gate. Right now, we even add thermal camera to it. So we capture the face, whether it's the citizens or not, the license plate, as well as the thermal, and then the boom gate will open automatically. Next. Another case is we empowered a lot of malls in Indonesia to be smarter, to capture data inside the mall, because they're competing directly with e-commerce, where e-commerce can provide data, right? How many people visiting, what are the demographics, and so on. But conventional malls cannot. So what we do is just we provide them with the data through CCTVs of how many people coming in and out, and are they mostly male, female, what age, and so on. Next. The biggest industrial complex in Southeast Asia, actually, using our solutions as well to capture, to automate the gate using license plate recognition to open and close the gate, but as well as for safety and security of the residents inside, they apply our mobility solutions. Next one. This is a video of the new normal solutions in the combination of attendance system, AI, IoT for thermal scanner, and so on. So the awards actually comes because of the social impacts that we made. Some of the international awards that we received in the past years is due to the social impact. That's why we always, like I said, repeat it all over again, that we always embrace social impacts. Next. I think that's it. Oh no, these are our clients and partners that we have. Most of them are Indonesians. Some of them are Japanese clients as well. Next one. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaraditya.
Yeah.
No, it was really interesting. I was just going through each and every slide, and I mean, you have created such a beautiful synergy between AI and connecting those with the communities who are present there. I mean, it's a very good initiative, and we like to thank you for that, and thank you for such inspiring and motivating organization that you have set up in Indonesia, and I hope you expand your reach in other countries as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Moving into the next Q&A session. So we have a lot of questions coming up from different participants. So we will take a couple of them. So first question is for Samira. Face while applying for the project. Samira?
Yeah. Can you repeat the question?
Sorry, yeah. It's the question from Wayne. So what is the challenge NEET-LAB face while applying for projects?
That's a good question, actually. There are several challenges. I think Rama would agree with me as a startup when acquiring clients and building up the profile of what clients look for and aligning yourself for answering those needs. In terms of that, I think if you tailor your product market and create a vision map for yourself, then I think even application for grants and projects becomes much easier when you have clarity what you want to be providing as a service. Then that makes it much easier for someone to choose you over your competitors. Explaining, let's say, the secret sauce of why uniquely you as a startup or an individual should be chosen to solving that problem. If you have that answered, I think that targets the pain point, and it's much easier for your company to be picked. So I think not having clarity for someone out there about their abilities could be a pain point in winning grants or projects. And I think arranging your priorities as an organization and setting very directive goals make someone pick you as an organization to implement a project.
Thank you so much. So again, next question is from Tasifa Ahmed to Samira. Can projects that aim to establish sustainable cities work parallel with conservation of spaces?
Oh, definitely. I think conservation of endangered or otherwise all different species which are part of our bio ecosystem needs to be conserved, and areas which are recognized as conservation zones, individuals, governments, everybody has a responsibility to do implementations in alignment with those conservations. And I think this goes back to what I said earlier. Thorough research and analysis of the area, understanding of what are the ecosystems, biospheres that are existing there, and being careful of not disturbing that or implementing something that could in future cause harm to that is a way to go forward. And I think now we have a lot of simulations, advanced metrics that can help us analyze that. Even for future projections. I think AI is one of them. And you could use several ways of analyzing what could be the prediction and prevent that by making priorities upon the conservations being a factor. And I think Rama also would agree on this with respect to, let's say, environment and probably all the solutions they do design includes this factor. I believe it should become a norm for every startup or institution out there to be eco-friendly and balancing of other conservations that are present.
Thank you. The next question is both for Samira and Rama. So Rama, you can start with, is community branding very important? I mean, to be able to give much bigger impact to society? Sorry, you were on mute.
Sorry. Once again, is community? It broke up. What's community branding is important?
Is community branding very important to be able to give much bigger impact to the society?
Yes, I think it is very important. For instance, so at when we first launched the Clue app, right? When we first launched the Clue app in 2014. there was already other apps that is quite similar. That is not, let's say, that is really focused on the reporting app as well. But once we launched it, what really matters for us is we collaborate with a lot of communities for illegal parking, communities for transportations, communities with sanitations, and so on. And like you also see in the presentation, there's also volunteers for the COVID-19 reporting. And those are very important aspects, because those guys, the communities, really provide the same values, the same beliefs with us in order to create positive impacts to the cities, right? And the Clue brand itself, it really attached to the social impacts from beginning. That's why we always say to our users, we always say to our clients that we really strive for social impacts in Clue. And whenever people heard about Clue in Indonesia, they always think about positive things, really good values, really about social impacts, and so on. So I believe that even until today, our solution is already expanded into AI, IoT, and so on. It's still very stuck to people that, yes, it provides a very good social impact to the audience. So this kind of communications has to be overset, let's say, to the public, and yeah, for me, it's very important. Yes.
Yeah, same question goes to Samira as well. So I'll just repeat it. So is community branding for you, I mean for NIDLab, is it able to give much bigger impact to the society?
Thank you. I think Rama answered quite a lot of what I wanted to say as well. Branding, if you break it down to very simple understanding, is how you would like people to imagine you. How would you like to appear for your community? That is what the term withholds. So if that is completely embedded image of the organization, then I think the branding and marketing team will have a very, very less effort in projecting that to the people or the public and the community. So I would say, like, your core values reflect a lot on you as a brand and how you work, how is your strategy, all of that really speaks to the people. So I would say having environmental sustainable concepts well within is very important. It's not a time where we have a very, let's say, high carbon footprint, plastic manufacturing, single-use company, and then if you put a sticker of a green leaf on the product as a branding, that is not working anymore. We have diverted from that notion of branding changing an image of a company long ago. So I would say fixing the core values in alignment of what you want to be known for is the best way for an organization to be branded. And that would definitely be very permissible to the community and acceptance as well. And it will reflect back on there.
Thank you, Rama and Samira, for those beautiful answers. We have a question from Atika to Rama. So, are Clue open to cooperate with other countries? I mean, to combat problems in other countries, other parts of the world as well?
Yes, we are open to work with other countries as well. We tried to work with some other countries in Southeast Asia, but really the main key is on the government as well. So because when someone report in Clue, the government have to use ClueWork to reply all the problems, right? As a task force team. And government have to be fully committed to actually use the ClueWork app and use the KPI system in the Clue dashboard. This is what make it very successful in Jakarta and became a benchmark in other cities as well. Because there was already a prime example in Indonesia at that time, Jakarta, and other cities follow. So if there is a partner that can bring us and convince the government to be able to use this, we can just deploy the solutions within hours, actually, because it's already ready to use. So yeah, we would love to make great impacts outside of Indonesia as well.
Sure, thank you. I mean, that brings me to the next question to Rama. From Chika. The smart city sounds really great, but do you have any ideas for the lower class to participate in this digital living project? Or in this case, people who don't have any kind of access?
Hold on. Let me read that because it was breaking out. Okay. But do you have any ideas for the lower class to participate in this discuss people who don't have the access? Yeah, as mentioned previously, unfortunately at the moment, a lot of collaboration with infrastructure is very important before we introduce our solutions. So even in Indonesia, we have introduced in several cities Clue, working with the mayors. The mayors really want to use Clue app, or really want to use the AI solution from us. But apparently his city is not that ready in terms of infrastructure. There's a lot of blind spots everywhere in terms of the communications, connectivities. So it was not as efficient, but we always try to actually find a way to make it offline solutions, things like that, but it's not gonna be so real time. So what I suggested is to have to empower cities that already have quite a bit of good infrastructure within that city. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Next question is for Samira. So from Theresia Elfrida. So we know that sustainable stuff are more expensive. So how do you convince government and communities to start making eco-friendly stuff?
This is a, let's say, repetitive question that arises to us in most conferences. My response to that is the current pricing, or let's say the system that we have doesn't consider carbon tax or the implication of certain products or systems that are in place. Hence, the pricing that is present is not actually withholding the standards. There are a lot of government initiatives right now to put in place carbon tax and other similar indexes, which will, in the coming years, make traditional production lines, traditional methodologies, or different materials quite expensive for the emissions and the result that they're causing on the environment. So in the future, in the coming very near future, we would be able to see that sustainable solutions will add up to be less expensive than the traditional means. That is something that is aspirational and motivating both. And it kind of clarifies what impact a non-sustainable solution has. Because if an electric car is priced much higher than a normal car, that is what's happening right now, and it's not fair in terms of environmental value. So let's say in the future, electric cars have tax incentives. They do in a lot of countries as of now itself, if you look deeply. That's bringing them at close pace. Then you have incentives of no parking. Then you have incentives of lesser tolls. Then you have incentives of public charging points, which reduces actually your financials that goes into maintenance of the car. That already makes it quite less than a traditional diesel, petrol, natural gas cars that you have. And this change has come from vigorous change in legislation, request of policy, and changes that were made over time. And that's reflected in cars because it's an industry that was targeted as a very high carbon consumption one. It will trickle down into construction industry, it will trickle down into other fields, but it is in the near future, I would say. And then you would see that actually maintenance and owning of something that's sustainable in the long term would be less. So I think that's something that we should keep in mind when we make decisions today, because if you build a building that is very high carbon footprint, then you would have to pay all of that in the future. So it would be better to go sustainable now and then and then have that for the next 50 or 75 years as a benefit, I would say.
Thank you so much for a detailed explanation. So next question is for you as well. So how do you communicate with the younger generation and motivate them on the eco-friendly environment movement?
Okay, whoever asked this question, you're right here, and I'm talking to you. I think that's that's one of the ways we do. We also involve youth in implementation stage in our projects. We invite them to build with us, to be part of our research, to be our active agents. And we did involve a lot of youth when we implemented the India project, where we collected data to understand public space need, and also what are the prime questions people have about public space. We found out from that a lot of people had questions if the space was actually free, which we learned a lot. And that was possible because youth and other active university students were part of the research. They approached people, had a conversation, and then we had that conversation converted into something that's very valuable data for us. So we do have youth, we do reach out through advocacy, and and consider this as an open call for someone who's interested in being involved in our projects to learn skills or share them. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think it was a question from Shindu. So I mean that person might be interested and get in touch with you. So yeah. Next question is for Rama. So in Indonesia, the level of economic inequality is quite high, and the technological awareness is also very low. So how do you respond to that in your efforts or CLUE's efforts to develop a smart nation?
Okay, so yeah, it's actually a lot easier right now to educate government as well as public to use our solutions. Either it is a CLUE app, even the AI technologies. Most mayors, most governments already quite aware of this. Thanks to the rapid growth of technology as well in Indonesia, we have produced more than 5 unicorns right now in Indonesia since about 2014. So, but it was a lot harder back in the days when mobile apps or like Android and iOS was just getting popular in Indonesia when we first introduced CLUE app in 2013, 2014. But the way I see it, in moving forward, thanks to this, not thanks to this, but there is blessing in disguise to this COVID-19 pandemic as well, that government is enforced to be, it has to be leapfrogging in terms of transformation of digital. Because they are now forced to use technology, forced to do smart city, or they have to implement AI, IoT sensor for automations and so on. So if I can say, out of all of the cities that we have empowered, the digital literature is already up there with Jakarta as well as other big cities in Indonesia. Some of them are still catching up. But I think we have no issue anymore. But if we do, it is something that we have to collaborate together with telco providers to provide infrastructure for them, more training, more hand-in-hand training system together with the public as well as the government. It just takes more time as well as passion in order to produce these solutions, because it's quite new in the market as well, even though it's in some big cities it's not that new, but in some small cities it's quite new. It just needs some getting used to it, to the technology. So a lot of training, a lot of patience as well to the government. This is what we have done for Jakarta in the past, and we already have the template to do that, to actually expand it nationwide. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rama. We have a next question for Samira. So how do you invite introverts to join social communities, and so they want to introduce themselves to the outside world? So what's your take on that?
Sorry, can you say that again? How do we invite?
how, yeah, this question is from Selfie.
Introvert.
So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. I believe advocacy doesn't have to be very social media oriented or very out there in terms of being present with the people and expressing very actively. It is something that one can implement themselves in their own life, which requires less social obligatories that actually make the difference between introverts and extroverts. And I would also say writing, making a blog post, sharing with your own family, or understanding something holistically for yourself and implementing that in your life and immediate life of your family, and all of that really does help. You do contribute a lot. And outside world, I think if you're someone who's passionate about the topic, but has complications being out there expressing that, it could be in terms of whether you're not comfortable with social media or giving lectures or any of that. You could still be involved very much by writing a post on, let's say, any platforms that you're more comfortable with. You can always turn off those comments, preventing online bullying and factors that make you conscious and have this emotion in you, and still express your view on sustainability. I think technology has given us a boundary to choose how much we want to interact. And I think one can define it by themselves, but also you can reach out to us and become a voice that passively spreads this message to the limits that you're comfortable with. Definitely do write an email to us, and we will support you in any way that you would like to share that.
Sorry. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much. The next question is for Rama. So, as smart cities, I mean, the technology you are using, so it requires a lot of sensors. So, how do you plan to act on the vandalism that might happen to sensors which is deployed in a isolated area or something like that? So how do you plan on acting on it?
Okay, so we have multiple or various of sensors that we provide to the government and enterprises. Each one has already have the security that we provide as well as an alert. So let's say for the smart speaker that you see on the presentations, if someone is to grab that and then take it away, it will provide alert right away, because number one, it has a sensor for that as well, and number two, we already provide also GPS tracking, so we can follow. This kind of precautions has already been done, as well as the data itself. So the data is not safe. It's not stored within that sensors. Everything is on the cloud, or everything is in the government data center, so it's safe over there in real time. So whenever there's something it's been unplugged or anything like that, it will destroy it by itself. So we've thought about it a lot, especially in terms of security. Data has to be encrypted, physical security has to be protected, things like that. So yes, those are the measures that we've done for our IoT sensors.
Okay. I hope that clears the doubt of our participants. So next question is for Samira. How do you manage to get the materials that are needed for every project in various countries? And how do you do the research about the materials available in the country, and whether you first create the design, or what is your approach for it? So this is a question by Faraz.
Okay, thank you, Faraz. That's a great question. We do have, whenever we have a new project, we do hire a local community member. Let's say any community that we are addressing to, we do involve them very deeply in the initial research process. With the materials procurement, even before we even design a solution or have an idea of what could be a solution, we do a thorough analysis about what are the resources available in terms of material, in terms of skill among the community, what is the weather like, what are the conditions for the habitation in that community. All of that is analyzed very, very deeply and also interacted with to understand the perspective and the acceptance level of those factors by the community. And when you overlay the research and acceptance, you do have something that gives you a very good indicator to the options that you can choose from. And those options, which are a result of that analysis, help us find the right material or the right methodology in the solutions that we design. And this allows us to then implement or even think about a solution. You know, the solution never should arise from before. You should be aware of the requirements on the site and then understand what's needed and what's available to be able to design something. So we do all of that before. Let's say what you see probably as a solution is something very small and the tip of the iceberg, but below that you do have serious of vigorous understandings and analytics and strategies, which results in what you see. So this would be my recommendation, and let us know if there are otherwise methodologies that can be better.
Thank you very much for your insights on that. So next question will be for Rama and Samira both. So maybe Rama can start with. How do you see your organization CLUE in next 10 years? And what will be the business model that will be adapting, and what are your goals after the SDGs have been achieved? So that's like 3 questions. So yeah.
Okay, so very good questions. So since day one, our dream is to build smart cities around the nation and create Indonesia to be a smart nation. And that was in 2016. But that was a dream for about 10 years. So, but our goal is by 2025 to empower the whole nation with our solutions. So when we're talking about 10 years, it's about 2030. We're already expanding our solutions to Southeast Asia region. And by then, not only in Indonesia, but also we're aiming for other countries as well in Southeast Asia, such as Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Philippines, to help the governments over there as well, working with partners, with local partners, to deploy our solutions and make more impacts over there. And it's gonna be a long way until our SDG goals to be achieved. So, but we would be very grateful if all of our SDG goals is achieved. So, but we're still on the way, still a long way to go, and we're looking forward to the journey to there.
Wonderful. Great to hear that from you, Rama. Same question goes for Samira as well. So where do you see a NEET Lab in coming 10 years, and kind of business model you have been developing, and what are your goals after the SDGs have been achieved?
Thank you. Again, a very heavy and important question. And so from my point of view, NEET Lab's projection, I think, will be in the direction of inclusivity and resilience. We will continue to make those still 2 main pillars. We have an initiative that is Housing for All, or House for All, with the aim of creating inclusive housing for differently abled people. So that will be one of our main targets to achieve, and repetitive solution. Let's say that something could be utilized many times by a same community. is something that we are targeting. And we are also rolling out an initiative, Women Who Can Build, which will be a training and skill development for women out there to be involved in construction industry, because far too long it's been very male dominated, and we want to change that. These both will dictate what path we take later. These are the two main things that we see as something that we need to immediately address. And I think those are the two initiatives we'll be focusing in the next 10 years. And homelessness as a holistic issue, not just in terms of providing someone a home, but also skills and employment is something that we are aiming to do digitally as well. If someone is at the verge of homelessness, analyzing that and then giving them the skills that they need to find a job, which enables them to have much more stability, is something that we can do as a society, I think. And that's something that we'll be doing as digital online initiative currently, and moving forward, maybe physical workshops and all that. Then SDGs. I don't know if many of you know this, but we did have millennial goals before, sustainable goals. We did have different set of goals by the UN, even before these goals showed up. So I think the goals we set for ourselves is always an aim to be better. So even with the SDGs, us hitting the target, it's a very, very ambitious mission. And I really, really hope we do that. And I think our goals should always be more projected. If we aim to achieve it, I think we should define more goals, what we need to do to be a better and more inclusive society in the future. So if it looks like we will be achieving SDG, I think more goals will pop up. I would definitely expect that. And I think that would make our community more livable and make people more prosperous.
Thank you, Samira, and that's nicely put in. I think we have almost attended all the important questions from our participants, and now we will, for our APU's documentation purpose, we'll move into a photo session. So if we could get a screenshot of all of us, I mean, I think Izaz will take the picture. So maybe, yeah, we can go for cheese at when I say 1, 2, 3, right? Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think it's done. Okay. So we have come to this end of this wonderful webinar where we have discussed a lot of issues starting from architectural part and AI, IoT, and integrating different technologies together. So just on a positive and inspiring note for this youth and who are attending this webinar, besides this Corona crisis, which is going on around the world. So I would like a last word from Rama and then Samira to end this session for the youth who are attending this webinar.
Go ahead, Samira.
Thank you, such a gentleman. I would like to say, take care of yourself. There's a lot of talk about learning more and doing more. I think that being important, one important thing is to take care of yourself and your family, and see the positive in all the pain as well. Not to forget about your loved ones. And I think that would be very, very important for you as youth. And it's an incredible experience that painful yet experience that the world is going through. The last time we had a pandemic of this scale was 100 years ago. We didn't have very vigorous documentation of that. Now we do. It's giving us a lot of learning and takeaway. So I think that's something that everybody should keep in their mind. At the same time, taking care of yourself. And because there's a lot of noise reduction right now from our regular life, it gives us clarity to set up priorities and what is actually important to us. I think that would be my recommendation. Don't overwork yourself. Don't think that you have more time now. Just be more patient and loving. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. For everybody, wherever you guys are watching, the pandemic is still growing worldwide. In Indonesia, also the cases are still keep adding up. I would just love to say that stay healthy, stay doing the health protocols by the government, social distancing, wash your hands, stay away first from your family, take care of distance and so on. But, in every situation, in every crisis, there is always also opportunity. So I just want you guys to see that this crisis, even though you see this as a problem, but there is always solutions for it that can help the community to be better. You can provide social impacts to the community. This is what we believe in CLUE in the very beginning of the pandemic. We see that the problems that we can provide solutions. We see the problems as opportunities, so we can provide solutions and make bigger social impacts. And I want you to capture, these problems, because it will affect a lot of human beings. At the moment, we don't know when this is going to end, but I hope more solutions to stop this outbreak, to stop COVID-19 will also happen, and hopefully it comes from you guys. So thank you very much again for having me, and have a good one.
Thank you so much, Samira and Rama, for your time and such an inspiring thoughts. And I hope our participants have learned a lot from this webinar. And I wish you both a very successful venture ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.